I love that. Hail to the Gingers. Hail to the defensive line. Hail to Jim Schwartz. Hail to this Eagles team for going on the road, bouncing back after the Ronald Darby injury. Oh, what a day for Carson Wentz. Nelson Aguilar, we found him. We've rescued him. Oh my goodness. Where did he come from? Let me slap myself back into reality. The Eagles snap their 5-game losing streak against the Redskins. They beat them 30-17. I don't care about the bullshit call. They won this game. What an amazing performance. Go, Mike.
We finally snapped the damn streak, right? We could never beat those damn Redskins, 5 straight times. Always seemed to struggle in Washington. And, I think all of us were holding our breath there at the end of the game because, that's a script that we've seen too many times play out in Washington where Kirk Cousins leaves them down the field at the end of the game for a late game touchdown to win the game. Thankfully, the defense bailed us out. And, you want to look at MVPs of this game, I think that the guy we got to look at is Brandon Graham. He freaking brought it today. He single-handedly just dominated that Redskins offensive line and helped cause that strip at the end. And then Fletcher Cox goes in for the score and seals the win. But really, it's funny because leading up to this game, there was some rumors floating around that maybe Jim Schwartz is, possibly trying to, take over the head coaching job, some things like that. And, I'll tell you what, Schwartz definitely outperformed Peterson today.
Yeah, I'd say so. We'll get into that later. But first, let's, the first call, the first thing that I'm sure the Redskins fans are going to talk about is, that turnover at the end. Now, hey, I'll take it, okay? It was a bullshit call. Kirk Cousins was throwing the ball. But that doesn't mean that they were going to go down the field and score a touchdown. This defensive line was eating today. Trent Williams, Morgan Moses, normally reliable. This Redskins offensive line is supposed to be really good. And Brandon Graham penetrating into the backfield. Oh, Fletcher Cox, deep penetration into the backfield. Consistent penetration into the backfield. Brutal to the backfield. Oh, did he ball out today? So this was about the defensive line today really stepping up in the second half. And I'll tell you what, too. That was a key drive at the end of the first half as well. I believe they picked up a pair of third downs, and then Zach Ertz had the reception to get out of bounds. So a lot of things, man, to digest in this game. Wow. But what did you think about that call, the Kirk Cousins throw?
Yeah, I think we got lucky. I'll say we probably got lucky. But when you really go back and you look at it, it's one of those things where could have got one either way. You looked at it from one angle, you could say that maybe his arm wasn't going forward. You look at it from another angle, his arm seemed like it was definitely going forward. So I think it was one of those things where they had to go with the call in the field because there wasn't undisputable evidence, but could have went either way. It was one of those things, like, as an Eagles fan, we're always used to that shit happening. It's like, oh, here we go. So they're going to reverse this call. Cousins will lead them down the field. They'll score a touchdown. They'll win the game. For once, we actually got a call to go our way. And so it worked out for us. But, yeah, obviously that call, there was multiple calls that they messed up throughout the game. So it all evens itself out.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. So Carson Wentz, what a start to the season. Oh, my goodness. So he eluded the entire 53-man roster of the Redskins in the backfield. And then, holy hell, there's Nelson Aguilar. We found him. We have located him. He has arrived. He came to FedEx Field with a purpose unbelievable. Who would have thought that he was the key weapon today? It wasn't Alshon Jeffrey. It was Nelson Aguilar. It was Zach Ertz. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Yeah, always dominating the Redskins. Oh, my goodness. Zach Ertz and Nelson Aguilar today. Nelson freaking Aguilar, Mike.
3 years. It took us 3 years to find them. Finally found them. Finally located them.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, shocker, though. I mean, I guess we kind of expected Jeffrey to be the main guy today, the main target for Wentz. But, him going up against Josh Norman sometimes, that's a tough matchup. So, Aguilar, they needed a guy to step up in that wide receiver group, and Aguilar was a guy. I think it shocked us all. So I'm not going to get too excited. I'm not. This is one.
I'm not going to get too excited either. But holy hell, that was awesome. I don't care. Good for him.
It's nice to see because I mean,
good for him.
Yeah. I mean, you hope for his sake that maybe he's finally figured this whole thing out. He's gotten out of his own head and he's got his head on straight now. I mean, we've always known that the guy has athletic ability. It's always been his head's been a disaster. So if he can keep his head on straight, I mean, you see what he did today. I mean, he can do things. I mean, down towards the goal line, there was even that one play where they once had a high throw and somehow he made like a one-handed catch. And I mean, that's the first time we've ever seen that out of Aguilar. So the fact that he was doing things like that was it's just a great sight to see. And, you hope that can continue because if he can continue to do that, then our wide receivers are looking pretty decent.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you said it. Ertz always dominates the Redskins. Aguilar, it's only one game. But I'll tell you what, I found it interesting, because Doug Peterson's game planning and just everything was all out of whack today. I'm trying to remember some of the things, Mike, but first of all, you got to run the ball more. I mean, even the touchdown to LeGarrette Blount, I didn't like. They're in shotgun and they're running a swing route as if Chip Kelly's back in town. Oh my goodness! So
I mean,
LeGarrette Blount was consistently churning for good yardage on first and second down, and he kind of went away from that. He only actually ran the ball 14 times. But it's funny. It's like we talked about all offseason. We're going to only expect Blount to get 12 to 15 carries a game. But this was one of those games, like you gotta see it on the field. Okay, well, we got to keep feeding him because he's dominating. Keep churning the ball forward with him. I mean, I don't know. I didn't like Doug's play calling at all today. That's what it was. Oh, when the Eagles had all the momentum. And Nelson Aguilar, how could I forget? That thing. Whatever the hell that was. Oh, if you want to halt momentum of a game, when you have it, that's what you do. You call a swing pass backwards to Nelson Aguilar. That failed completely. That failed miserably. I do not hail Doug Peterson after this game, actually, but I'll hail everybody else.
Yeah. Peterson, this was a brutal game for him, and it almost cost us. I mean, he almost cost us this game because we don't get that call there at the end of the game, and Cox doesn't go in for that touchdown. There's probably a pretty decent chance, maybe a 60% chance that the Redskins go down and score a touchdown and win the game at the end. So, and this would be a much different broadcast right now. We would really be ripping into Peterson. So many questionable calls. I mean, even towards the end of the game there, first down, they're near midfield, and he's going right back to trying to run a wide receiver screen when I just don't understand it. First off, our wide receivers, the whole entire game, they couldn't block those wide receiver screens or those swing passes to the wide receivers. And and like you were saying, the most baffling call of all is the Eagles have all the momentum in the world. You just put Blount in there, you run the ball, try to run the clock down a little bit. You got all the momentum, and they try to run this trick play to Aguilar. When they get this guy's confidence, it's sky high, and then they run this bizarre play. I mean, Wentz does a lot of amazing things, but the one thing that we've learned is he's not good on those like little short like swing passes. So I think that that's something that after this week, hopefully we never see those swing passes again. I mean, it's almost like it's bringing me back to the days of Chip Kelly when we kept running the those swing pass to DeMarco Murray.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's not get back into that again. So it was an interesting day for Carson overall. So 26 to 39, 307, 2 touchdowns and an interception. So he was scrambling a lot. And I'll tell you what. So this kind of started around, I don't know, say week 13, 14 of last season, where he's really scrambled out of the pocket, been eluding people, and throwing the ball downfield. And we saw it a couple times today. But also, he did have some inaccuracies today. He wasn't perfect with his accuracy, but he also made a ton of plays. So it's like he gets like a B+ because he doesn't get an A just because there were some inaccuracies. But I mean, come on, the touchdown to Aguilar to just like jumpstart this season. Like that's like one of those like your car breaks down and he gets the electrical cables and boom, just jump starts everything. That's what that was. That jump started this season. That got everybody riled up. But so what do you think? What do you think of his performance?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in my lifetime, that first touchdown that Wentz made. I mean, I've never seen a quarterback on the Eagles make a play like that. I mean, those are the types of plays that, separate the good quarterbacks from the great quarterbacks. And I really think that's we're kind of seeing Wentz, develop into that. He's really turning into one of the, better quarterbacks in this league, right in front of our eyes. But he still has sometimes those mechanical failures where maybe he'll be awful. He still throws the ball a little bit too high sometimes. The one he could have had Torrey Smith for a long touchdown, he just overthrew him. Things like that. But besides that, it's really hard to nitpick with him. I mean, he's one of the main reasons why we won the game. I mean, let's be honest. There are some times when it was critical situations and.
Yeah,
he was
third downs.
Yeah, third downs. He's able to just run around and make magic happen. And then he's, like you said, it's extending those plays, and he's able to find people down the field for big first downs. So that's really, I think, the biggest thing that we've seen with Carson Wentz and how he's improved is, definitely eluding, people in the pocket and then scrambling. And instead of running, he makes that throw down the field.
Yeah. And just 2 quick things about him before we move on. So the quick field goal right at the end of the half. So 2 third down conversions there. And then also a pair of third down conversions, even though they didn't score on this drive, they flipped field position. So they had the 3rd and 4 to Smallwood, and then the 3rd and 10 to Ertz. 2 great throws from the throw to Smallwood actually wasn't good, but the throw to Ertz was good. And then you had Donnie Football punch it inside the 1. Then obviously we saw what happened. So okay, so Alshon Jeffrey didn't have himself a good game today. I found it interesting that Doug Peterson kind of schemed away from him early on. I'm going to have to watch the tape afterwards. It seemed like he was getting early separation against Norman. And then Norman kind of started getting the better of him. And then once they started going to Jeffrey, he had the drop. And then he couldn't come down with the 1 along the left sideline on the 3rd and 20, whatever it was. He did come up with a big catch late, but only 3 catches for 38 yards in all. It was Zach Ertz and Aguilar really doing everything else. So Jeffrey really was kind of shut down today. And Sproles actually had a good game as well, out of the backfield and slot, whatever he was doing. So 6 catches, I believe he had.
What's that for?
Sproles. What did Sproles have?
Yeah, he ended up with 5 catches.
Okay. Yeah,
23 yards.
He had a couple of key first downs.
Yeah, it was I guess it was one of those things I maybe expected them to, try to throw the ball a little bit more to Jeffrey, but going against Norman, obviously it seemed like the Eagles really felt like that this was a game that they could get Ertz involved, and then I think obviously Aguilar, him making some catches early on, that helped his confidence, and they kind of tried to steer away from Norman as much as possible. And I think this is also a thing with Jeffrey is it's still going to take some time. I mean, this is week one. He's still got to build up some of that chemistry with Jeffrey. So I think it was average performance from Jeffrey. I mean, I'm not really too worried about it. Like you said, I think the key thing is him coming up with that huge catch towards the end of the game. I mean, that was clutch.
Yeah. I mean, if he comes down with that 50-50 ball, all of a sudden it's like 4 catches for 70 yards.
Right.
That line doesn't look too
And that was a tough one. I mean, he almost came away with that.
Like those are catches he makes. Like,
yeah, that's
per se. Like a 50-50 ball for Alshon is like 75-25,
Yeah.
Not a 50-50 ball. But he couldn't come down with that one. But that was like double coverage there. All right, so I know I was like all excited early on, and it was great. It was a huge win. But this Ronald Darby situation really, really concerns me. So that freaking injury just made my heart sink. Seeing that, so I don't. Do you know what the injury is? Is it an ankle?
They were calling it an ankle injury, but I mean, we'll see.
Is it a dislocated ankle or is it a?
Well, he definitely. I mean, it was definitely not in the right direction. I mean, it was out of place. So. Yeah. It's not looking good, and it's one of those things where I think it's like at a point in the game where we were sky high and we were like, wow,
it was 13-0.
Yeah, we were like, okay, crap, wow. If the defensive line can play like this the entire season, and we got Darby as our number one cornerback, and you have Mills the way he was playing, you figure, wow, we might be in pretty decent shape. But I'll say this, and this brings me to this point. I thought it was very, very interesting that Eagles inactives, the fact that they only had, what did they only had like 3 active cornerbacks?
Is that what it was?
I think so, because
maybe they thought like if there was injuries, Corey Graham would have just stepped in there and been a cornerback. And they also had Jenkins and Sly. Well, they had him on a little bit.
But yeah, it was. But it's tough. I mean, I will say that Patrick Robinson played pretty decent. I was worried when he came in. I thought, oh boy, here we go. Darby's out. They're just gonna pick on Robinson. But Robinson actually, for as bad as a preseason as he had a pretty decent showing here in week 1. But moving forward, injury is definitely devastating. It hurts us big time. I think if you want to look at it in a positive way, if our defensive line can continue getting the pressure that they're getting, then it's going to help out those cornerbacks because it's less time that they have to cover. And one thing I really liked, Schwartz last year didn't really see him blitz too much. This was the most that I've ever seen him really bring the blitz like all out in the game, and it worked. So I think we got to continue to do it.
I feel like he felt like he had to after Darby went down because what happened was, so it was 13-0. Darby goes down, and then the Redskins scored 2 quick touchdowns. It was 14-13, and the momentum was on the Redskins side. That's why that field goal before the half was so important. But I'll say this too, like. There were 2 key plays. I don't know if it was the third quarter or the fourth quarter, but a pair of third downs. You had Patrick Robinson with coverage on Pryor along the right sideline, and then there was Jalen Mills on Pryor, and he had a pass breakup. So there were actually like encouraging signs. Like Jalen Mills played okay today, and we'll see moving forward. But I'll tell you what, the defensive line, 4 sacks. Against that Redskins offensive line. If they're going to be doing stuff like this all season long, I mean, I know I said I was concerned about the cornerback spot, but that was a really encouraging start. And I mean, Jernigan with the swim move, Cox was just consistently in the backfield. I mean, it just opens everything up. If Jernigan's going to be dominant, I mean, Cox isn't going to be seeing double, triple teams anymore. He's going to get one-on-ones, and we saw today what happened. I mean, the interior of the Redskins offensive line kind of got exposed today. Sean Laval got beat by a Jernigan swim move. And then Brandon Graham, 2 sacks on Morgan Moses. So Trent Williams went down with an injury, though, at some point. But, I mean, just unbelievable by that Eagles defensive line, the pressure that they were able to generate. Because in years past, Kirk Cousins has had all day to throw. Only 2 sacks in the 2 games for the Eagles last year. They had 4 today.
Yep, defensive line, they were really the stars of the game. And when whenever we needed a big play that kind of changed the momentum and get it back in our favor, the defensive line was there to do it. And, like I said earlier, I think the guy along that defensive line, Brandon Graham, just balled out today. Guy was unreal. I mean, it's funny because he's one of those guys that's really come along now after last year and now into this year. And, people were still giving him, flack because, they're looking at his stats. He doesn't have the sacks. Well, I'll tell you what, people will go back, watch this, this game, and you'll see that you don't need the sack sometimes. The way that he dominated, it was huge. And I think that, another guy, Vinny Curry, actually played pretty well, pretty decent. But I think that as the season moves along, I think you're going to see, Barnett start to get more and more snaps. And my hope is that Barnett is eventually the starter, because I think if you pair Barnett with Brandon Graham, I think that's one hell of a force there.
Yeah, I'm interested to look at the snap counts after the game in terms of that. It didn't seem like Barnett was on the field that much. But, I mean, a dominant performance by that defensive line. And, Kirk Cousins, I just looked at it. He was 23 of 40 for 240 yards, touchdown and an interception. So they had the key interception there late when the Redskins were in the red zone. Jalen Mills had the pick there. So and he's got this little button on the back of his head now with his haircut. I guess when he pushes it, it puts more juice into his hair, some more green dye. I guess that's what that's for.
It must, but that was an interception we kind of got lucky on in a way. Well, you credit Swartz because he brought the heat there, and it was a great time to bring the heat. And Cousins had the overthrow. But yeah, it was nice that Mills got that interception. I think what you saw today from Washington is that they're going to miss Deshaun Jackson big time. I think that them losing Deshaun Jackson is a devastating blow, because it used to be when Cousins was in trouble, he could always just throw the ball deep down the field, and Jackson would burn his man and you would make a big play. But you saw it today. I mean, how many times did Cousins try to go deep to Pryor? They just weren't on the same page. Yeah. So I think
Pryor
that
one, even though that was a holding penalty.
Yeah, exactly. So Pryor was impressive. I mean, but I think what you're going to get from Pryor. And I think that them losing, Jackson and Garcon, both those guys together, that's a tough blow. And, they were saying before the game that, Jordan Reed he's playing with like a broken toe. So you could obviously tell today that he was not 100%. So with him not being 100%, and then really on offense, really all they have is Pryor. So I think that's where the Redskins are, kind of be their downfall this year, because they don't have that firepower on offense.
I guess, I do like Jamison Crowder, their slot receiver that they have, and he was held in check. 3 catches for 14 yards. He had a muffed punt today as well, but he was on the injury report. I forget what he had, but he was questionable. I believe it was a hip injury he had. That's what
he tried to do a jump catch.
Yeah. So he had the hip injury. So I don't know if he just wasn't himself today, because he normally is quick and jittery out of the slot, and he was held in check. So there you go. I mean, wow, I'm amazed, Mike. To win this game, I mean, you couldn't go 0-1 at the Kansas City, and go 0-2. So, I mean, I just wanted to get through the first 2 games. If they went 1-1, I was like, okay, we're good. They got the first.
Well, what do we say? The magic number for the division is 4. You got to get the 4 wins in the division. So this was a big win. This is 1 on the road. We still won on the road. If you can get a divisional win on the road, that's key. So that's why this game was so big. Anytime you play a divisional opponent, you got to beat them because it's going to help you out big time because the whole NFC has a tough schedule. So big win. Besides Peterson and his bozo play calling, I still hate Sturgis. I can't watch a guy kick. He's a freaking clown. Can't make a damn extra point. And I really thought that missed extra point was going to be the difference in the game at one point.
Oh my God. I was like, it was like 13-0. Like he would miss this and they're going to lose by like a point at the end. Like I was like dreading it because he missed the one kick before that was his first game as an Eagle, right? Against the Redskins. And
yeah, you're right.
An early field goal or something, and it wound up costing the Eagles a game. So the haunting memories of FedEx Field and Landover, Maryland, they come back to haunt Caleb. Poor Caleb. Jesus. How could you miss an extra point, you dope?
Ah, jeez, that guy. And somehow and then like at end of the half, he just, nails a long field goal. It's nothing. So who knows with that damn guy. But
he's lucky he had a good year last year. Because it's hard to talk shit on him. But I still don't trust him. I still don't trust him. Not at all.
I went Cody Parkey back from his rookie season prior to the injury.
Yeah.
These kickers are nut jobs, man. That's a problem. They missed one. That's what I was worried about. He missed the extra point. I thought, great, now he's done. He's screwed the rest of the day. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this Redskins running game. They didn't run the ball at all. So not only were the Eagles able to control the passing game with the defensive line, they were able to control the running game as well. And Brandon Graham was making plays along the edges. I mean, it wasn't just the pressure and the sacks and the 2 sacks and the strip sack. The running game as well. On first down, he was consistently setting the edge, no gains, limited first down yardage, and that just sets up the rest of the drive. So I'm looking at this. They had 17 carries for 64 yards in all. Rob Kelly, 10 for 30. Kirk Cousins had 4 for 30. So it was really only 13 for 34 on the rushing front.
Yeah, I mean, we only had 58 yards on the ground.
Well,
so.
That's because of Doug. That's because of Doug's ignorance. And he should have been running the ball. When it was 13-0 and they had the ball, and instead of going to Aguilar, they should have run Blount up the middle. Nope, they didn't do it. Nope. Even along the goal line. Oh my God. Oh, they got him in shotgun. Oh, they didn't run the ball in second down. Stop being Andy.
Don't get it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it's like 10 yards to go. What's a great play call? And he thinks, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage because that's a great idea. We have to go forward 10 yards. Instead, we're going to start out -1 or -2 yards back. And we have wide receivers that weren't able to block that the entire game. So I just hope that he really gets those play calls out of the playbook.
He's still doing it. Yeah, there's 3rd and 9 screenplays. They pissed me off, dude. You have Carson Wentz.
The other thing that I didn't understand was that, remember when Sproles had that one catch, they thought it hit the ground and they were reviewing it. I don't understand. Why did we burn a timeout?
Doug being Doug.
Right? Because if they had to review the play, the clock is going to stop anyway.
Yeah.
So we burned a timeout for no reason.
He's Andy. He's Andy 2.0. But he's like, God, I feel like he's the bastard child of Andy Reid. But maybe by some miracle he can become Jon Snow, and we find out some story that he's some, like, I don't know. He's not the king of the Eagles' Iron Throne right now.
No. I tell you, he's lucky that he has a quarterback.
Like we should not give him a pass just because we won. Because if we shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think.
This is year 2. You've got weapons now. 3rd and 9. You're still calling. That it happened like 2 to 3 times today. One I remember to Aguilar. It just went nowhere. 3rd and 9. Jesus, run a deep in route or run a goddamn quick slant. You can pick up 9 yards. Why are you running a screen? It never works.
Yeah, I don't think that Peterson should listen to talk radio this week. I think he's he's gonna get his ass in June.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so what else happened today? All right, so what were the Bears once?
What else happened was the officials seemed like that they were in freaking La La Land. What the hell was up that being official? For the one time, he couldn't even get the call right, and he had to take it back and then call the penalty on us, that damn jerk. And then the other time, when what was it? Wasn't it with Cousins, and it should have been intentional grounding. Cousins throws it nowhere near anybody, and they just let it go.
Freaking Christ! I'm trying to see what else. That's about it, man. We covered like all bases. Oh, Jordan Hicks had himself a game. Jordan Hicks was how could we forget about him? Oh my goodness!
He almost had one. He almost had a few picks. Actually, he was the guy's a stud.
Lost in the shuffle here in Philadelphia.
He really does. It goes under the radar somehow. He always has really solid games. I mean, you look at the defense. I mean, besides Malcolm Jenkins, he's really the leader.
Yeah. Malcolm Jenkins had a dude. They I mean, I know you said Jordan Reed kind of played with injury, but Malcolm Jenkins had a big stop on him. I remember one time, and they kind of limited him. What was? Let's see. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, well, it's kind of all with the Redskins.
5 for 30. He had 5 for 36. You remember that game from 2 years ago? We had like 9 for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, just completely dominated us. The Redskins got off to that 14-0 start, and today Reed was kind of limited. So the Redskins were kind of shut down and all. And again, the defensive line. Jeffrey Lurie should be buying that defensive line steaks all week. All week. A buffet of steaks after the game.
Should be. And I think that Peterson should contribute to that too.
Doug Peterson, no, he has to settle for salads. Salads for Doug.
Salads for Doug.
You know what? Jim Schwartz is a Terminator. Like God, just imagine how many steaks he could chop down. Let's go, boys. Dig in.
Well, they
Hey, listen. May the Schwartz be with us, because I'll tell you what. I want to emphasize that again about what he was doing today. Because once Ronald Darby went out, again, we talked about it earlier, but the Redskins started generating momentum through the air with a quick passing game, and to go to the blitz. That's something he doesn't do often, but he was going to the blitzes on 3rd down because he knew it was going to be the quick passing game. And he was able to get the Eagles to get to Cousins before what, even 2 seconds. I mean, they were immediately in backfield. So he was calling the blitzes at the right time. They were well designed. They were well run, well executed. I mean, obviously, when you have personnel like the Eagles' defensive line, I mean, we just saw what they did, and the blitzes were well timed. I mean, geez, what a game for this defense.
Got to give it up. I think giving Schwartz a grade. Got to give him an A plus.
And Doug gets like a D plus.
Yeah, we'll give him a D plus. He's lucky he's not getting an F.
Yeah, it's early on in the semester, so the first test he didn't do too well. He got like a 68. Just got up your game up. Professor Schwartz, he got a 93. No, actually, he got an A plus. What am I talking about? 97. Give him a 97.
I mean, he's Peterson's lucky that he has Wentz because if I mean Wentz doesn't escape the pressure, in the beginning of the game there, well, there's 7 points off the board for us.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there are some other plays too that he on third down that he really got Peterson out of some trouble. It got to the point where it's like you knew what the Eagles were going to do every damn play. And it's like, obviously, the Redskins know what's going on. It really just mind-boggling at times. Just the same old stuff. And then especially on the one play, like we were talking earlier in the game when the Eagles fumbled because of the pass behind the line, you saw it coming. And you're like, they wouldn't be that dumb to do it, would they? We're really going to be dumb enough to do this? And you're like, out of all guys, Aguilar?
Yeah. All right, I'm trying to see. So some like other news and notes. So Wendell Smallwood really didn't do much. 4 carries for 4 yards. He was kind of held in check. They kind of tried to run him along the perimeter and blown up the middle. That was kind of the game plan, but they didn't really run the ball as much as I would have liked, and we talked about that earlier. Torrey Smith limited to 1 reception for 30 yards, so he was kind of held in check. But it was about Ertz, Aguilar, and Sproles today, man. They showed up. They balled out. Wentz able to escape out of the pocket. I mean, the offensive line, didn't really have a good game. They didn't play well, and Big V, had to come in there, and here we go with that again.
Jeez, yeah, we'll have to see it. They say Peter's a groin injury. It's always something with him.
Yeah, it's always something with him, and you like you only kept 3 tackles. I would have thought by now that they would have made a move for another tackle, and they didn't. They didn't do it.
Very, very short there along the offensive line as far as depth goes. So we'll see. I mean, going forward now, they're going to have to they're going to have to some of the guys that they had inactive today now, like Rasul Douglas, all of a sudden he's probably playing a lot. Probably a lot sooner than they want him to. It seems like if he was already inactive for the first game, and then who knows? Even that, the guy they just got from the Jets, maybe even McDougal.
All of a sudden, McDougal is huge because he's big. Because what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to put Robinson outside. Actually, let me tell you something. Patrick Robinson is quietly under the radar. He's turned things around. Now, I'm dreading because I don't want to say anything too quickly. It's only 1 game. But he did show a couple signs through preseason later on, and even the first game he didn't play bad. So, and this Dexter McDougal kid, I like him in the slot. He's got some quickness and change of direction, and that's what you need out of a cornerback in the slot. So quick hips, loose, and he's gonna that's so huge because you got Crowder and Cole Beasley in this division, like all these great slot receivers, even Sterling Shepard, the kid from the Giants. So it's going to be important for this Eagles defense to stop the quick stuff. Again, we're going to go back. It's back to that. So if the Eagles defensive line gets their meets their match, I mean, you can pick apart the secondary. But as we saw today, I mean, it looks like the defensive line might be so good. We'll see.
Will it be?
Yeah. All right. That's about it. I can't think of anything else.
Covered it all, I think.
Yeah.
Big win.
Yeah. Huge win. Yeah. Chiefs now. The Chiefs going into Kansas City. I'll get your quick thoughts on that because I know you can't do the preview shows. So,
yeah.
All right. So what do you think now? Because I circled this as a loss. I was like, all right, Eagles 5% chance of winning before that Patriots game. But now that the Chiefs won, they won that game. For them to go into Foxborough 42-27, all of a sudden, I think the Eagles have a shot. But I think it goes from they went from a 5% chance of winning to maybe now 25-30%. So they got a shot. I don't think they're going to win, but we'll see.
Got a shot. I think that the biggest problem with the Chiefs is they've got so much speed all over the field, and I think that.
Yeah, if our offensive line looks like it did today with Justin Houston out there, oh my goodness.
Yeah, And I will say this: that if the Chiefs if they had Barry, if Barry didn't get hurt, we would really have no shot at winning. But with Barry going down, that's really a devastating injury for them. He's really the leader of that defense. So without him there, gives us a shot. I think what it's really going to come down to is our defensive line. Now, if our defensive line can dominate, then maybe we have a shot. But I'm going to say that we still lose this game by like 10 points or something. It's a tough game. Winning KC, especially them just coming off beating the Patriots, so the crowd will be pumped up. I think it's going to be a tough one. I say we lose, but hey, it's NFL. Anything is possible. If we get that, I mean, if we win in KC, then all of a sudden that home opener, people will be going nuts.
Yeah, it's the Giants too. I'll tell you what. I mean, listen, the Giants are not the Giants. What am I talking about? The Chiefs are the most overlooked team in the NFL. You know, I talked about that in my preview show with Brendan. You know, like everybody has Oakland. You know, they're the sexy team. They got Amari Cooper. They got Michael Crabtree. They got Derek Carr. But the Chiefs have an amazing defense, and they've snuck under the radar for years now. I mean, Justin Houston is amazing. And he gets overlooked. I mean, he almost set the NFL single season sack record a couple years ago, and it's like he still doesn't get respect. I don't get it. He's like every bit as good as Von Miller, and he had 2 sacks against the Patriots. So you're gonna have to deal with him, and who knows what's gonna happen with this Eagles offensive line? I mean, who knows? And the Chiefs offensive line, they played very, very well. So we'll see, because the routes for Tyreek Hill, if they want to go deep, the routes need to develop. Alex Smith needs time. Maybe the defensive line can get to him in time. So that's like the thing to watch.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I think that like you said, I think that the Chiefs, possibly could have made a deep run in the playoffs if it wasn't for the Barry injury. I think that really is going to set them back, especially when they get into the playoffs. That's going to be a tough one when they probably have to go up against the Patriots again, go up against the Steelers. So I think that in the end, that's going to kill him because you saw in that Patriots game, he's such a factor. So it was, and it obviously with his whole background with the cancer and all that kind of stuff, it's sad to see because he's a hell of a player. Yeah.
By the way, we've started a new segment here, or a new show, I guess, here at the Bitterbirds called Behind Enemy Lines, and I've got a guest already in store for the Chiefs. So his name is Shaggy Shane. You can check him out. They got these intense beards, and they're hardcore Chiefs fans. So I had one earlier in the week. So this is something I'm going to do every week, trying to get an opposing perspective, like the opposing point of view. So I'll continue to get some guests. It'll be interesting to see if the Giants and Cowboys fans are even going to want to accept the invite. Are they going to be scared? No, I'm not.
We could have Sean on for the Giants. So
there you go. That's true. That's very true.
I know
he's very intelligent.
I'm a Cowboys fan, so I think we could.
We can make things work.
Yeah, but
all right,
that's a W.
Final thoughts. It's that time.
Picked up the big W. That was the whole key for today. Pick up a W. Wentz looks good. Looks like he's the real deal. He's not showing any signs of dropping off this year. I think he's really going to put together a good season, and that's key. So I think that Darby injury, tough loss, devastating loss, but I think biggest positive is defensive line. Defensive line continues to play like this. They can continue to bring the blitzes, get the pressure on the quarterback, and 3 seconds. It's going to be tough for teams to really get stuff going on offense.
Yeah, they weren't just getting to the quarterback. They were getting to the quarterback quickly, seemingly consistently. And I'm going to watch the tape back, but it seemed like they literally dominated this game. This was a top 5 offensive line, and they dominated. They ate. So Hopefully they can continue to eat all season long. Hopefully Jeffrey can kind of turn things around. Like, it's funny because now he's got to go up against Marcus Peters. He's going to get shut down again. So the rumblings are going to start with him because he had like 3 for 38 today. He's going to have like 2 for like 27 next week against Marcus Peters. He may not even have a catch. Who knows? Because that guy right now, you know what? I had him the number 2 cornerback in football. He might be best right now. That guy shuts down an entire half of the field. Exactly what Richard Sherman was doing, a couple years ago. So we'll see what happens. But again, like if that was like almost the game plan today, was going away from Josh Norman, and that opened things up for Zach Ertz and Nelson Aguilar. By God, are they gonna? That's the strategy they're gonna have to use again next week. So with that being said, that's Mike Owens. I'm Adrian Fedke. All hail Ginger Jesus. And this man, he's been voided. He's going to be riding a golf cart in a couple years. We're out. Peace.
Later.